Hi, 3 and 4-year-old leaders. We're preparing for May 5th. In our lesson this week, we're going to be looking at the bronze snake. Remember last week we talked about Caleb and Joshua and how God was giving the Israelites a new leader to help lead them, and that he asked Moses to send some people into the promised land to learn what was there. And when they figured that out, they were scared and they didn't want to go into the promised land. And so, like the Israelites have done, they end up wandering in the desert for 40 more years. And as a discipline for them, God sends snakes into their camp. The snakes are killing many of the people. And Joshua goes to God and asks him to help save the people. And so God provides a way to save them. Now, this should sound familiar. In the Garden of Eden, same thing. The snake came and tempted Eve. She ate the fruit. She sinned. But God promised a way to save us from that separation from him. And that promise was Jesus. And so what happened was God asked Joshua to put a snake on a pole and to put it in the camp. And whenever people would look at that snake, if they had been bitten by a snake, they would be saved. Their wounds would be healed and they would not die from their snake bites. But they had to remember to look at the snake so that they could be saved. And so God was providing a way all the way through the Israelites' lives to show them that he was God, but he was also providing a way to save them, and that he knew what was going on. He knew what was best for them. But there are some consequences for us choosing to disobey and possibly even to complain. In your lesson today, you're going to talk about complaining, which we all can do or do regularly. Before you get there, though, your social activity should be just a really fun kind of relay game. You should have some tin pie pans, some little things that look like rocks. They are clay that has dried. It shouldn't reform into anything else but a rock. We did this so that you didn't have some little sneaks who'd like to throw rocks across the room. That way it wouldn't hurt anybody. These shouldn't hurt anything. They're just little squishy clay. All right. And so what their kids are going to do is they're going to scoop up the rocks out of the pie pan into their spoon and carry it across the room to dump into the other side of the pan. If you want to make relay teams, there should be 12 rocks per team. If relay teams don't work best for your group, which is probably true for the 3-year-olds, just put them all in one big line, and they can each take turns getting one rock at a time. This part of the activity is to help us prepare for part of the story with Joshua later on in our series, but it's also what God asked for Joshua to do was to go back and get stones to remember him by. But I think it's true in this entire series that God is helping the Israelites remember to put things in place so that they remember that God is there with them and that they can choose not to sin because they can put God as their number one. All right. So your small group activity for this session, you will have some pieces of paper that look like this and a bucket. And what you're going to do is fold up your pieces of paper and drop them in the bucket. Get each kid to choose one piece of paper each. I think there's about 10 or 12 questions here. So if you have more kids than that, maybe you pair them up and they can answer. 2 of them can answer a question at a time. And so each question has kind of something that the kids need to think about how they would respond to this. Now, there's supposed to be questions that we might respond back to with complaining or being upset that we might have to do something like go to the dentist, this one says. And so after the kids pick out their question, you're going to help them read it and then ask them to answer it. Ask them to respond. What would you say if it's time to go to the dentist? And if they ask them to be honest, but then maybe ask them if they were trying not to complain, what could be another way that they would respond to that question? Trying to help them process ways that they can talk to their family members or to a teacher or someone else without sounding like they're complaining all the time. And then your words in here is complaining is never the right thing to do. Instead of complaining about a hard situation, we should ask God to help us. And what an amazing thing to figure out at 3 and 4. If we can get 3 and 4-year-olds to do that, could you imagine what would happen when they're in 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th grade, even a senior in high school, when they learn that complaining is not the best way to get the outcome that they expect, that they can go to God even though something doesn't seem desirable to them. All right, so that will be your lesson for today. Your memory verse is trust in the Lord with all of your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways, submit to him and he will make your path straight. Trust in the Lord like you're pulling a rope. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding, but in all your ways, submit to him and he will make your paths straight. And then you have a coloring page. Now I want to remind you guys that all of our activities do not have take home with it, and that's on purpose, because when kids are in kindergarten through 5th grade, and then when they're in junior high and high school for sure, there is not a take home every week. What we want to do with these activities is help kids understand what we're teaching them. And so that doesn't always mean that they will have something to take home to show mom and dad what they did. We provide family resources for families, and so they have it's available on our website. It is also available on the Parkway app. And then there are papers up on our slat wall that if they would like a paper copy, they are welcome to take it home. That parent resource gives them some activities that they can do at home, but it also helps them know what we are teaching the kids. And we are hoping that parents will begin to seek that out and know that what we are teaching them is relevant to life, and it is helping set them up with a faith foundation that we are hoping that families will do together. So when you feel like you don't have an activity to do every week with your kids so they can have a take home, that's on purpose. We're trying to help prepare kids for the long haul, and what we do in small groups is to help kids apply what we are learning, and that doesn't always mean that they're going to have a cute craft to take home. So you do have coloring sheets every time we don't have a take home, though. If you'd like to send that home with the kids, you can do that. If you'd like for them to color it before they take it home, you can try to squeeze that in, but time-wise, you're probably not going to have a lot of time to finish that. So I encourage you just to send the paper home so the kids can show their families what they learned today in their session. Then you can pray with them and send them on their way. I hope you're preparing to join us on May 15th for our leader appreciation. We're going to go to Outlaw Pass and play everything we can while we're there. Feel free to let Chris know that you're coming, and I hope to see you guys soon.